My name is Barbara Gray from Clarity here in the UK, and I'm hoping that the internet will be better today than it was on Monday. I apologise sincerely. It was quite ironic, really. If you're not aware, the internet crashed on Monday, and I was just telling you that the snow-laden Buddleia was right down on the ground. What I failed to notice was that the overhead cables were also down by the Buddleia. So that was that. Fortunately, BT to the rescue, Openreach, out they came. Yeah, they did. And climbed the pole, sorted it out, rewired, everything's peachy. Our phones were down as well. And then, as if that weren't enough, we had no water until yesterday. I know. It's like the dark ages. Yes, we had no water. Therefore, the kids arrived. I'll tell you all this while everyone's coming in. Come on in. Happy days, right? We've got water and we've got internet. I know, gratitude overflows. So the kids arrived on Tuesday from their travels from California and New York. Only to find out that we got no water. So if they needed the loo, they had to go down the road to Edenbridge. Boom. I said to them on the phone, because then the next thing was, oh, I'm boring you now, but I will. This was quite funny. Then they were trying to get out of Tower Bridge. They decided to meet at London Bridge and then get the train out. And then Grace went, next problem, trains are cancelled. so they couldn't get to Tunbridge because there was something wrong with the signals on that line. So they couldn't get to Tunbridge. And in the meantime, Dave was running around trying to get water so that we'd be able to flush the loos and have a cup of tea when they got here. In the end, I just said, get on any train, go to Sevenoaks. We'll pick you up in Sevenoaks. So then, of course, the whole of the southeast of England was trying to get on the train from London Bridge to Sevenoaks. I know, what a day. Welcome to England, we said. So it was quite an adventure. That was Tuesday. In the meantime, there's a bloke up the pole trying to sort out the telephones. It's all good. It's all good. We're all here. Oh, and then in amongst all that little lot, the vet said, come and get your cat. Yes. So over to the vets in Forest Row. That was before we went to Sevenoaks. We went to get the cat in little Eric. You know, his little paws a little bit manky, but he came home on all fours. He's got 4 legs still. Oh, he's so beautiful. He's a good boy. So, and he hasn't got his leg in plaster, but it's been wired, his back leg. And so it looks a little bit, you know, fragile to say the least. But he'll get there. You know what it's like when you shave a leg. There's not a lot of meat on the bone, is there, on a cat? So yeah, good morning. Come on in. Is everybody there yet? We've got 77 visitors already. Imagine if we were all in the dining room. That'd be a lot of cups of tea. 77, in fact. Come on in. So very happy to report Eric's back in the building. My dad's not well. That was the other thing. Oh yeah, on top of all that as well, they called to say that Dad was very poorly. He's got the flu, not COVID, but that's knocked him for 6. So can't go to see Dad. I felt rough yesterday, but I think that was also because I went to see Dad on Monday and I must have picked something up from him. So yeah, do you know what it is? It's life. It's life. It is what it is, you know, and it will all be all right, you know. It happens. It's like traffic, just keeps going. Life just keeps going, you know, and there's no point in hanging on to stuff because, you know, we could have lost our I know I can't say that. We could have got really frustrated when the internet went down. But it's no one's fault. The snow, just there was such a boof, you know. It happens, doesn't it? Brilliant news, Barbara. I know, Marianne. Are we talking about the cat? Yeah. Lovely little fella. So you see, you have to look on the bright side. Every cloud has a silver lining. And by tomorrow, Dad will be fine. And by tomorrow, we'll go and see him before our Christmas lunch, because we're taking the staff to the spa for our Christmas Clarity lunch, which we're looking forward to. Yeah. And it is what it is, Jackie. It so is, you know? Yeah. So there you go. That's been my week so far. Boom. And this afternoon, when we finished, we're going to go to Lewis for lunch at Bill's. Who's Bill? No, Bill's just a really nice restaurant in Lewis. So we're going to go to Bill's for brunch, provided that Dave gets back, because he's the only one with a car big enough to take the whole tribe. and then tomorrow it's the last working day. Well, I mean, I'm not working. Good morning from Norway. I don't consider this to be work. Not at all. It's that time of the year and the change in temperature. It doesn't help with all the bugs. You're so right, Sue. You know, I think there's a lot of it about. Our Paul's got it. Paul's in the building with you. Forgive my waffling. Paul's in the building with you. He's also got the lurgy. So between him and Dad, I had no hope. 2 hopes. Bob hope and no hope. Never mind. Paul's a trooper. He's still there. And he's going to answer any questions if you have any. Sonia, thank you for the present and the card. You're a diamond. I opened that at 5 o'clock this morning. Yeah. Just joined, was dealing with Mum's blocked sink. Virtually. That's a challenge. I can't imagine that. Bill's is nice in Oxford too. Yeah, there's a whole chain of them. But the original, may I tell you, Jack, is from Lewis. And Bill was a greengrocer. And right by the river, he used to have his greengrocer shop. And the son, Bill, he was an entrepreneur. And he thought, do you know what? I could serve people breakfast while they're going over the bridge. And that's how Bill started. And it is still the nicest one. It's lovely. I mean, I can't say that because I haven't been to the one in Oxford, but it's beautiful. And it's just got that real lovely old windows that open up like in Paris. Speaking of Paris, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Who has read the book? I just finished it this morning. Paul Gallico. Oh, it is so lovely. Read by Juliet Stevenson. I wanted to read the book before I watched the film, and it was worth it. It was so worth it. I listened to Juliet Stevenson tell me the story of how Mrs. Harris, she what does, goes to Paris to buy a Christian Dior dress. Oh, it is so beautiful. Makes you cry. Anyway, if you're looking for a really, really uplifting read that'll make you laugh, cry, and shake your head in dismay, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Absolutely fabulous. I've read the book and seen the film. Who says that? Jane Marbay. Thank you, Jane. Good, isn't it? Oh, and I downloaded the book, and then it said on now she's going to New York. So I thought, oh, no, I'm saving that. I'm saving that one. I'm saving that for tomorrow morning. We have to have a plan, friends. Okay, so Jane Marbay's in the building too. Nice to have your company, Jane. Gosh, how long have we known each other? Hey? Good friends. Now, come on, let's do some colouring. We started on Monday, shading in our tree, our snow-laden tree, before we were so rudely interrupted. So let's have a look at what we're doing, shall we? This is where we were headed. Let me show you. This is where we were headed. This is where we've got to. And then the internet cut out. Look, I've done a little bit of practicing. Isn't it interesting how you can see? I've known you since you were at the Make It show. Thorpe Park. Thorpe Park. Do you remember when the roof came off? Golly, That was an exhibition to remember. We had like 100-mile winds, and we were supposed to be in a it was in a marquee, wasn't it? Like in a tent. And then they wouldn't let us. We'd set up, but the building, the big the infrastructure was compromised, and so they wouldn't let us go in. And I said, but my artwork, the boards, I wasn't worried about the stamps, it was the art boards. I said, I've got to go and get them. If I haven't got my art boards, I haven't got a business. And so I put a hard hat on, and then lovely Jo Valentine, she said, leave it with me, I'll go and get your art boards. She was the boss, and she went in with her hard hat and got all my art boards off the walls. I didn't care about anything else, it was just the art boards. You understand? You understand. If you've seen our art boards at the exhibitions, you will get me, right? No, and now we've got a lot more artwork, but in those days, they were like the jewels in our crown, the art. Still are, really. Anyway, yeah, my word, Jane, that's going back a bit. Let's have a look at this artwork anyway. I digress. Yeah, so we were doing these. We started out with the leaves, didn't we? This optical illusion of how to create this effect that you put your fingers underneath and lift it. Do you remember? And then we used those masks. Really, I mean, if you're looking for a little stocking stuffer, I have to tell you, these builder scene masks. Do you remember? And I used the builder scene mask to create the trees and the nice. These sold out very quickly on telly. And so the other day, Paul and I were looking at the timetabling for next year, the show planning. And we put these back on because we said, see, there it is. Look, there's a little tree. Because we said, you can't get enough of these. These are really something else. And the leaves as well. The leaves, which we drew ours, didn't we? But these are pretty cool because you've got all these leaves in here. Yeah. Yep. If during the Christmas period you're bored and you've got no company and don't know what to do, go and have a look at the website. We've been loading up artwork, Grace and I, loads of, right? And there's loads of lovely inspiration on the website, and you may just treat yourself. And what we'll do is, if you do put an order in, we won't post it until the 3rd of January because of the backlog with the Royal Mail and the strikes and that. We don't want to add to it, you know. So what we'll do is, even if you order, expect your order not to come until the first week of January. 1, because there won't be many of us there, and 2, because it's not moving anywhere anyway, and we don't want it to get lost. So I'd rather they clear the decks and then we'll send. Agreed? Good. Paul's just posted the links for these. They're super good. Speaking of website, have you been doing our gnome hunt? Have you been joining in on the gnome hunt? It's a very easy one this year. Come on. If you're not sure, Paul, do us a favour, post the link for the gnome hunt, because you can still catch up, even though it's day 22 and there's only 2 more clues to go. It doesn't matter. You could go right up to the 24th. The clues are all stacked up for you, you know. That's your sort of thing, Jane Marbe. You'll enjoy that. Jane's very good at Zentangle, like you love. She's written a couple of books, in fact. Right, now, so if you want to, you can always go and catch up on the gnome hunt, and it's really easy. And there's an anagram attached, which I think you'll enjoy. Good morning, Karin. Nice to have your company. Do you say Karin or Karin or Karen? How do you pronounce your name? Difficult for you to tell me, isn't it? Okay, right. So we've done that, and now we're going to do some shading. Okay, and then what I wanted to do was show you a little trick how to use a solid surface stamp but create the whiteness. All right, so I thought we'd do that too. So because that looks quite nice like that, doesn't it? And then we could use our biggest selling thing of the year, well, biggest selling simple thing of the year. Linda Williams's Christmas Treasures were what blew the doors off this year. Our groovy collection. Gosh, 5 months, 5 plates a month. But these little inspired by me. So simple, not inspired by me, but inspired by our printing presses. Something this simple could be so popular and so effective. I was thinking that that would look really, really superb to put that on in an embedder. Yeah, that's going to fit. See, to do that, I've got to, yeah, it's going to look so nice. Anyway, yeah, so the embedders were a really simple, lovely idea, you know, and anybody can do it, really. So the year in review: Linda Williams Christmas Treasures, Clarity Embedders. That was about it, really. That, oh, and the Kiss range. Okay. Anyway, this is what we're going to do. Let's talk while we do some colouring. I'm going to take my Faber-Castell. I love these polychromos. This set of 12, and I'm going for the darker ones now. So I've got my Payne's grey and my dark grey. And because what we did was, you know, we look at this and you want to sort of know. It's easy to do this, isn't it? Do you remember we used, let me see if I've got the, just in case you weren't here, I've got all my templates in a bag. See, I drew it on there, like on a piece of tracing paper, so you can see what it looks like. It's just a simple, get the lines. But the secret to doing this is putting the white in first and just avoiding these bits. So you avoid these bits and then you add shade afterwards. So it's the white first and then you add the depth. So if, for example, we were to go in with our Payne's grey, right, now we're going to go in tight on that edge there, you see. And what that will do is that'll makes it dimensional. Same as, it's exactly the same principle in effect as this, isn't it? You know, the darker it gets in there, the more that's going to pop. See, same thing. And here, the darker this goes in here. So you've got different, you've got the dark, where's that Payne's grey? This is the one I've got in my hand. So you just keep getting darker and darker. See, and the white acts as a resist. So when you run over it with this pencil, for example, it won't affect the white. It just goes into where there's no white pencil. See, you can go in like that. And then if you wanted to, you could take your blending pencil and you could just tone it in a little bit so it's not so stripy. Yeah. Should we get in a bit tighter and have a look at this? Come on, let's investigate a bit closer. Now we can see what we're doing. Right. So, for example, where's my white one? So I take my white pencil, see, and I can go up into the grey with the white. Just keep going lighter and lighter. I noticed a few of you were saying that yours were quite grey. Your white was quite grey. Layer on layer. Just keep layering up and you'll find they get whiter and whiter. Also, are you using without wanting to put too fine a point on it, what kind of white pencil are you using? Are you using a percoliner? Because they're pretty good, you know. They're pretty good. So what we're going to do, you see, is put the light grey in here. If I put the white up this way, look, I can make lines as well. So I can make it look like they're almost like pleats in a skirt, right? By adding the white like that. Then when I take my grey and I come back, so see what we were doing last week was we were taking a lighter grey so that we didn't, so you could see where you were headed, see. So now I can take that light grey and I can go in with the lighter grey. I'm just recapping. Then I'll go with a medium grey and not quite so far down, let's say. So I start to kind of stay along the edge here, right? So the trick is not to rush it, really. Here we go. So you get in there and you start to just see, and you can crosshatch. By crosshatch, most of you know what I mean by that. What I'm going to do now is come along and cut across where I just, in the direction. See, that looks quite good. There we are. See, so you're coming in now with a darker grey than the one you used before. And we're cutting across as well, across the back. So we're adding a bit of sky now as well, you see? There, you just keep building up that depth. It doesn't take that long. It only takes as long as you want it to take, really. But I enjoy the process, you see. I enjoy the optical illusion and I enjoy the process. See, so where there's no white, see how you can just start running the grey down those gullies. That's quite good, you know. There. So you just don't want to press too hard. If you press too hard, you get like a waxy sheen. You're creating the resist, and then you won't be able to add more depth. See, so you just keep putting in light, feathery, great. Look how lovely this is. See, it just goes in where there's no white. But making a difference. And if I want to go in with a darker one, you see, I've got to make sure that this has still got some purchase. In other words, if I press too hard and it goes really shiny, then there won't be anywhere for this pigment to transfer to, because it would just be sliding around like on ice. So there are two little tricks that I'm going to show you for that. Okay, so I'm using the Payne's grey now, which is the darker one, and I can feel that it's quite shiny underneath. Right, two things I'm going to do. One, I'm going to unshine this, so I rough up the pigment on that, right, on my sanding block, or I can sharpen it lightly. And two, what I'm also going to do, and I was looking at this, I can either use a pink or a white. I just want to, if I just go in with the white, I need the pink one really. The white one does it too, but the pink one's the one that works best for an eraser. See, if it's too, if I've sealed it, if you like, then all I need to do is unseal it by just breaking the surface again of the pencil. See? And then I can go, you watch now, I'll be able to go in with the black and it will sit immediately. Yeah, see, you can feel it. It's instant, you can feel it. It's like when you're doing parchment and you've let the white, you've done a bit of white work. It's exactly the same principle, I guess. You've done the white work, and then after a while, you can feel that it just goes all shiny, and you can't get any more whiteness going. You know, you just start to get popcorn, not whiteness. And in a way, it's not dissimilar. You've got to wait, haven't you, with the parchment? Give it half an hour. Well, if you ask Linda Williams, she'll say give it 24 hours. Give it a little while, yeah? And then, you know, you can go back in and you could feel it, can't you? When you go back in and go again, you can feel how, I'm going to just rough this up a little bit because I can't feel the purchase. There you go. Let's get rid of what I've done a little bit and go again, but lightly, more lightly. There you go. Not pressing so hard now. Yeah, it's the same with you can feel it. It's tangible, isn't it? When you do the white work, you know that the parchment has kind of cooled down and yeah, is ready to be stretched again. Right, let's have a look. Which one shall I go to now? This one. Middle one. There you go. You use the flat and you're going to go round and round and round, just staying. And you build up those layers. Everybody happy? Are you all sorted? You all ready for Christmas? Hey? Where's Paul gone on my texts? Let's have a look. I've lost him. Bear with me a minute. Paul, there you are. Where did you go? Right, there we go. So you add the next colour, but you stay a little close. Cool. I tell you what, when you think about the shack, we've learnt so many things together. And I'm not saying that I'm the font of all knowledge. It's not that. It's that because I'm the bus driver, I've had to go and do my homework and do a bit of experimenting before we set off on our travels, you know? And so it's been a really big learning experience for me, you know? Long may it continue, I say. And I know from so many of you too, you know, you say, "Core," when you think about what we were like when we first started and how far we've come and how my confidence has grown. And that's brilliant, you know. It's really brilliant. And I think throughout this last year, even though, you know, lockdown, apparently, you know, we were free to travel and move around again, you know, we kept going with the shack, didn't we? We kept going. And we travelled gently this year, kept it simple. And I think even through all the turbulence and what's been going on, I mean, we've had it going on again this year, haven't we? What a year in the world, you know? What a year. Isn't that lovely? It's been chaos. You know, it started with, I mean, at a global level now, you know, I mean, I'm not a newsreader, but I tell you what, it starts with the Ukraine war, then the ongoing battle with COVID, then the government shenanigans, then the Queen dies, then the electric, oh, and the petrol, we had that one as well. Then the cost of living skyrockets. And all the time you're still trying to pay the bills and keep the company going and keep keep dad going and keep mum going. And, you know, and you think, oh, blimey, when's this going to end? And it does. Just roll into the next crisis. Don't you? There you go. And all the time we're rolling from one disaster into the next one, right? On a Monday and a Thursday, there we are. Hey, it's quite good, really. On a Monday and a Thursday, there's that little hour of yoga for the mind. That's how I see it. You know, we get together, and then on a Tuesday, Paul, I'm going to do a bit of black, I think. Our friend Paul, he takes over and drives the shack bus down Groovy Tuesday. Great. You know, I think there's a lot to be said for the constancy, you know, that, I mean, apart from the occasional issue with the internet or for example, a clash with TV timetabling, you know, sometimes I can't be there on a Thursday, especially when we were doing the new and exclusives, that always clashed, but it was only once a month. And other than that, you know, come hell or high water, if it was at all possible, we were doing the shack, weren't we? Done some nice things this year. On Christmas Day, don't feel for a minute that you have to join me. It really isn't. It's not that. Don't feel bad if you don't. It's got nothing to do with it. I'm glad you're busy if you're busy. But there are many friends in the shack and in the Clarity community who are alone and who don't have company at Christmas, you know. And so at 10 o'clock on Christmas Day, on Sunday, we're going to get together, aren't we? Just us. Paul said he's going to join as well, which would be lovely. Okay, so that'll be good. And we'll just hang out for half an hour. You know, cup of tea, mince pie, coffee, whatever you fancy. You know, there's no rule that says you want a sherry, have a sherry. I won't, but for goodness sake, it's Christmas. You know, if you fancy one, have one. And we'll get together we'll hang out. And I was thinking we could have a look at some of the lovely artwork. We'll have a look at what we've done during the year. I'll get my little folder sorted out. And what else? Oh, and then we'll have a look at some lovely cards that you've sent me that I never throw away because I just don't. Hey, be disrespectful. There you go. So we'll have a look at some of your lovely art. We'll have a chat. Hey, should we do that? Why not? Why not? I think it'll be nice. There, look, isn't it looking good? Right, so what I want to do now is look a little bit. Let's compare. Have a look what the difference is. Well, the only difference to my mind at the moment, it's a little bit lighter, isn't it? It's not quite as dark. That was because I was getting a bit carried away with that one. And also, so what we want to do now is the outside bit. So again, you've got your colours, you see? So you can start with the medium one. And we'll use the flat rather than the point, because we're just going to make a shadow now. So look. So I'm just pulling out like that. And the white, you're not going to spoil the white. The white won't go grey. Okay. Just going to add a bit of shadow. And I think I'll come this way. I'll cross hatch. So in other words, I'm coming across the shadow in a different direction. I mean, how many times have you heard me say there are no experts in this building? I'm certainly not one, you know. But you give it a go and you think, yeah, that works, or no, that didn't work, right? That works well, that doesn't work, and that's how we're learning, isn't it? That's exactly how we're learning. Okay. So I want to do this to just show you how you can get the shadow going. Now you may enjoy a bit more of a funky, you know, like not quite so smooth. And if that's the case, then all you need to do is go up a little bit on the pencil, and then so you can see the scribble marks. See, that looks good too. Nothing to say you can't show off your scribble marks. Look, it's hand drawn, makes it look a little bit more textured. Do you see? Like that. See the difference? Nice. It's choices, 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 isn't it? There we go. Beverly West. The shack is the only thing that's kept her sane. Well, Bev, I'm going to tell you something. The shack's the only thing that keeps me sane. And pottery. I have to say that pottery keeps me sane too. And Dave. Those are my three. But the shack is a constant, isn't it? And because I've got a commitment to the shack, for me, it's even easier because there's no question of shall I or shan't I join in. I'm the bus driver. Right. See, that looks quite good, doesn't it? Shady like that. And then what we'll do is, you see, on the inside, right under here, you can really get a bit more depth going. Watch. See, if you come in here, there, like that, there. And so we'll put a bit more grey in. I'm using that middle grey just to really get some depth going in here now, underneath here, see? Oh, you look. Hello. Look at the top of my head. That's handy. There you go. Sorry. Right. See? Well, at least you know it's in real time. They are my hands. There, it's looking good, isn't it? So I know also, let's have a look down the bottom here. Put a little bit of grey in there. This is where you really get to see the the white resist working well. See, as I'm coming over the top, it's good. I like this look. So I'm already thinking what we're going to do next year. So we'll meet on, let's make a plan, shall we, friends? We'll meet on Christmas Day if you're up for it, but no need if you're not. Just for half an hour, just a little catch up. And then if you fancy, what I'd like to say is we'll take a break because I've got the kids at home, and I'd like to spend a little time with them because I don't see much of them. And this time next week, I think they'll already be winging their way back. You know, it's a short-lived thing, their visit. But so what we'll do is we'll take a little break in the shack, if that's okay, until let me say Monday the 9th of January. Let me say Monday the 9th, because that gives me a chance to go into work on the first week of the year and kind of make a plan with the staff and figure out where we're going and what we're doing. You know, that needs doing as well. So you're all right with that? We won't have the shack then until Monday the 9th of January. Okay, so put that in your diaries if you fancy joining in, and that gives me a little time to make a plan. Where are we headed? What should we do? I think that we're going to just do more of the same. That's what I think. I don't think I need to come up with anything clever. I think we just need to do more of the same. How do you feel about that? Hey, nice doodles, nice colouring, nice drawing. Right, black next. Right, let's get right in tight now. Start adding some real shadow. Here we go. Can you see the difference straight away? There. Yeah, should we do that? Let's plan on just carrying on. There's a lot to be said for a bit of constancy, isn't there? There we are. It's like grandparents, they're often the constants, aren't they, in children's lives? They often are. I know my mum and dad are certainly the constants in Grace's and Mark's life when they were little. Really, you know, when all about them were losing their heads, mum and dad were always there for the kids. That's the truth of it. And in a way, I guess, so I value, you know, I understand the value of that reliability, so that, you know, that was the only thing that upset me on Monday, really, when the internet broke down. You know, I felt unreliable, but then it's like, was out of my hands, really. You know, I couldn't climb up the pole and sort it out, but it got organised. But I felt bad because, don't get me wrong, I didn't flip my wig about it. I just felt bad because I know that a lot of people do enjoy it and do rely on it, and it spoil their day, really, if they can't hang out with us for an hour, you know. Is it looking good? It is, isn't it? It's looking really good. See, and you're getting in there with that black. Don't be afraid. See, because as you push against the white, see, as I'm pushing against the white, I'm creating, the resist helps massively, right? But you'll see what I mean. If you're doing this, you'll get it exactly. The white just helps massively. And then you see, you can go in with a bit more white. Now, let's see if we can get some white highlights too. I mean, you know, you could go in with a white pencil, white paint pen. Looks good, doesn't it? I like this choppy look. And that's it, really. And then it's just a question of doing the same on both sides. See? So you get the side of your pencil going. I'm not going to worry too much about this side, though, because I'm going to put the words in front of it. But you get the picture. And we know now how to draw these snow-laden trees. That was short-lived in this country, wasn't it? How long did it take? A week before it rained and melted? Looks nice. It's nice. Right, there you go. So let's have a look. There. How's that? Do you like it? I think it's come out lovely. Now let's have a look at our our little signage, shall we, that we're going to pop on there. Doesn't that look good? Yes. Let's look at the sign. And how do we do that? Because when we look at the actual stamps, let me show you. I think I highlighted these before for you. Think about these. Let's look at the back so that you can see them better, right? You can see here, we looked at these last week. These are superb. I designed these myself, and I love fonts and typefaces, and there's a really nice mix. They just sit so beautifully together. So you can have Happy Christmas, Peace on Earth, Peace at Christmas, Seasons, Noel on its own is lovely. Greetings, nothing to do with Christmas. Happy on Earth. You wish. I'm going to use Peace on Earth. Yeah. Thing is, because it's a solid surface stamp, you can see they're filled in. Like you see, we call that a solid surface. With images, it's often called a silhouette. So this is just a solid surface stamp. That's what we call it in the game. So we've got solid surface. Usually, you're going to take a black archive link pad, ink it up black. Looks lovely. But now what if, let's have a look here. What if we want to make it white with a little black edge? Let's look on this camera and see if we can just take a look at that, because it's quite accurate. Right. See? So while I'm holding that there, let me just show you this. This is how you'd think to go, and then it doesn't work, because you'd think, right, well, I'll stamp it in black, and then I'll take my white pen, and then I'll take my white pen, and then I'll just go inside over the black, which works until it gets really fine, and then the black disappears. Okay, just explaining. Look at that E. It's there. Also, note drop shadow. Note drop shadow. All right. So I thought it would be nice if we have a look at how I did that. Yeah? How's that sound? Yeah, we've got 20 minutes. It won't take that long. It's just tricks and tips. Why not? Okay, let's have a look. So what we need is a piece of this is just my own opinion. Opinions are like noses. Everyone's got one. Right. I would not stamp onto that now, because if it didn't come out after all that, you know, if you're going to stamp onto the same level, then my suggestion is that you stamp that on there before you start all the shading. Just because if you stamp this on there and it doesn't come out, I mean, if all else fails, you could try it on there and then you can always cover it up. You know, that put a butterfly on it kind of jobby. But my thoughts are that it actually looks quite nice with a bit of, I like the layering. So let's have a look. We're going to put that on there. First thing we want to do is mount the stamps. So I've taken my stamps from my set. I've taken my stamps and I've mounted them on my 4x4 mega mount. If you've got stamp positioners, ho, 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 great. So the next thing I want to do, I'm not going to use a black ink pad though. We've got these really neutral ink pads. One's called Pebble Beach and the other one's called, there's a shadow grey one. They're really light. They're light. They're great if you, say you want to, this is the same trick really, say you want to colour in an image. You've got the children, Jane Nesterenko's wonderful Christmas children. You know, the ones with the melting snowman. And you want to colour them in, but you don't want a black line. You don't want the black line art. You want to colour them in, same in parchment. Instead of using the number 1 tool, you use the number 3 tool to get a really subtle outline. You know what I'm talking about? Right, same thing. This will give you, when you're, these ink pads, the light grey one, shadow grey or something it's called, and the Pebble Beach one, they're brilliant for stamping an image that you want to colour in when you don't want the stylized black line art. Okay, that's what they're there for. Well, that's what I use them for. So let's just move out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Okay, so I've got my ink pad, I've got my piece, I've already cut it to size just for convenience, and I'm going to stamp this on there. Okay, so I'm going to use my Pebble Beach because we're using that colour card. Now let's have a look. So we'll ink it up. We're using all 3 stamps at the same time. We've worked out the positioning. We know that it will look nice. It's not crucial that it's a perfect stamped image because we're going to cover it up anyway. But let's have a look. Because it's on craft card as well, it makes it a lot easier. So we'll do that. Right. Once I've got that, right, nice. Okay, so it's just light. It's not black. It's not black. It's light. And when it dries a little bit lighter even. See, look. See, it dries lighter. Okay. Oh no, have I frozen again? Please don't say I've frozen again. Have I, Paul? Have I frozen again? Don't tell me we're going back up the pole. I don't think we have. We're fine. Good. So let's take a look at this one. This is the one that's dry. So top tip, if you let it dry, the white works better. Good. So I did this just before we went live, left it half an hour. Thank you, ladies. Look, not here, not frozen, not frozen, not frozen. Good. Glad to hear it. So what we'll do now, I'll use the first thing I'm going to do is use my Posca pen, my fine line Posca pen. Okay, this is a scrap one. Let me just get the black. Where's my bit of black that I always use to check my pen? I usually always have the same piece. There's a piece. There's a piece of scrap. That'll do. Okay, I just need a piece of on the floor now. There you are. There it is. So we'll get our pen going. Make sure that we're happy with it. Right. Nice snow. Perfect snow. Okay. Is it writing well? Is it nice and fine? Yeah, good enough. So the pencil is not going to cut it. It's not going to be as white or as bright. So we're going to use this. This is the one that I've just stamped. So let's have a look. I'll show you what I'm going to do and then I'll do it on best. So what we're going to do is we're going to run exactly what I did on the black. We're going to run the white around. And we're not going to worry so much. So you can do 2 layers. Because it's wet, it needs 2 layers. Because it's dry, probably get away with 1 layer. Let's come in a little bit tighter. Moving a little closer. Right. So it's a twofold trick. What we're going to do is do the white and then introduce the line art with our black micron pen afterwards. So it shouldn't take too long. Let's have a look. We've got time, haven't we? Yes, we have. Right, let's have a look. Okay. So I'll just get going. Where's my black tester? Let's get going. Right. Just let and you're not pressing hard. We're just going to start out just infilling. There you go. And don't worry if you go over the line. It's your writing. It's becoming your writing now. See? This is what we're doing. Especially on craft, it's great because white, it pops, doesn't it? So here we go. We're literally overwriting. So we'll overwrite with this white pen. And then we'll go back around the outside. Once it's dry, we can go back around the outside with the outline. We did something similar to this about a year ago when we were doing those little houses. That's what I remember. We did those little houses. In fact, where's that card? I found a card by Linda Spencer and I thought, love it. Here it is. Look at that. Oh, hey, that was what we did, where we put the baubles in and then we went back and redefined them with the white. Do you remember? You colour it in and then you go back and because you know, if you miss a little bit of the, isn't that super? So nice, Linda. There you go. These are beautiful little stamps, this stamp set. And we did them in the shack. Do you remember? We doodled them and then we made a stamp set out of them. They came out so nicely. Yeah, so we've been it's been quite a year at Clarity, actually. While I'm doing this, I can talk about that, I think. It started out, it was a little bit turbulent to start with. Well, the it's been quite a challenge for any business with COVID, and no different for us, really. You know, quite hard, to be honest, but we got there. And then this year there was the acquisition, Create and Craft, Hochanda, which was the channel that we were on. They bought. Now let's have a look. This little N needs to be quite tight, doesn't it? Yeah, let's get it tightened. Hochanda we bought Create and Craft. There you go. Nobody saw that coming. David and Goliath moment. We thought that would be a really good thing for us, but it really wasn't good for Clarity. We had such a rough ride for the first few months. It really did knock us out, and it was quite difficult, wasn't it, Paul? For the first 3 or 4 months, maybe even longer, it was a real challenge. And you know, you got to keep going, fake it to make it, keep going, and then interestingly, it got to about what am I saying? July, and then the tide started to turn, and so we'd weathered the storm, and then in July it started to improve. Like things really started to improve on the TV and things settled down. I think there is always, you know, with a merger or an acquisition, you know, you only got to look at Twitter to see there's this sort of phase. I always think of it as forming. It's like the forming, storming, and then provided the management handle it right, norming, you know, forming, storming, norming. And we had the storm to remember. And I think that we got through it. It started looking better in June, July, I say, and then it's gone from strength to strength. Really, we changed the way we were doing things. We introduced the KISS range. We addressed what we were doing. We changed our strategy. We changed the way we delivered. You probably didn't even notice, but we did. And things have improved immensely. There we are. So I've done the white. And then, of course, we did our new and exclusive with Linda. She saved the day for us. And our craft alongs proved very popular, you know. So that worked well as well. And you just have to, you know, how many times have you heard me say this? It is never the event, but how you respond to it that will ultimately affect you. And when we tanked, I mean, it went when, you know, and you would have thought it would have been the best thing that could have happened, and it ended up being the worst thing that could have happened for us. But then it turned, only because we were bobbing and weaving with it. We were going with the flow, you know. So So we weathered that storm, didn't we? With thanks to you sticking with us, I have to say, you know. Now let me see. I think that's dry enough now. So I want to make sure that I've got a goodly amount of white. If I want to go in with white, once I've put one layer down, now's my chance. If I want to make it brighter, now's the chance to make it brighter. See, another generation of white will certainly brighten it. But what you'll find is it's like most things. When you add the frame, it will look a lot whiter than it does now anyway. So it's just it's a trick. It's an optical illusion. It's one of our optical illusions again. Yeah, so it has been turbulent, to say the least. But you know what? We're still here. Oh, and another thing. I mean, just get this black going. Hang on, let me just get a piece of paper. Make sure that this black's good as well. Because then we're going to put the outside edge around. There we go. That's better. Right, now we'll start again at the top. And now we're going to frame. So we need a steady hand for this, because you're going to go round the outside and turn the artwork. Make the artwork come to you. Just keep turning it. Put a lid on the back. And you'll see, because it's little bite-sized pieces, it's really not that hard. And I know you're going to say, oh, you need a really steady hand. Well, yeah, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. There you go. Let's go on the inside. And the other thing to always remember is when you're doing this, if you go off-piste or it goes a little bit wrong, you know what you could do? Just take the white, use it as a corrector pen. Remember Tipp-Ex? Well, there you go. So you just redraw the white and then redefine the black. Let's see if this camera's any better. Now, is that better? Or is that better? That's better, isn't it? Let's try the really tight little, let's try the E. There you go. What would we do without these pens, eh? Now, do we want to come across? Yeah, let's go across. Looks good, doesn't it? Every now and again you can, if you cut into the white, you might just want to clean your black nib. Quietly does it. There we go. So yeah, what a year, eh? What a year. Now let me see, this coming few days, we're gonna close our doors at Clarity tomorrow lunchtime. Oh, that was a bit of a right. At tomorrow lunchtime, because we're going to the spa. If you next week, we'll be open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but we'll only be open from 8 o'clock until 1 o'clock. Okay. Now let me just concentrate. If you're going around a curve like this, I always think it's a good idea to stop and then keep going. Then go turn it a bit, then go back over an area that you've already done and then sweep back in. There you go. So it's seamless, right? Yeah, if you place any orders, we'll just hold on to them until next year, because everything's a little bit erratic at the moment, but we do appreciate your business. Of course we do. I mean, that was the other thing that went berserk, was the prices, the cost of living, the cost of raw materials, the cost of paper, and the parchment quadrupled in price. The parchment has quadrupled in price since February. I mean, that's just eye-watering, okay? And So we did send out an email. We did say to you, and it's not a game. It's not a. I'm not. There's no trickery involved. We just know that the next order from Parchment will be. We know what the price is. We've got the bill, and so I said to Paul, perhaps what we could do is just freeze the price until the 3rd of January. So if anybody wanted to stock up, because we have to put the price up again. Well, we don't have an option. We haven't quadrupled the retail price. Right, there you go. And a parchment company without parchment is tricky. And there has to be a certain quality. That's the other thing. You know, you can't say, oh, well, we'll just use a different sort of parchment. Well, that's not always a good idea. So I hope that you do understand that that's not it's not a ploy when we say we've got a price freeze going on at the moment. See, I missed a little bit there. Let's have a look. Let's get in there. I wonder if I can just tart that edge up there. In we go. Correct. Just think of it as a Tipex. Yeah, perfect. There you go. So Paul's not saying much to me. I'm sure he's still around. But I think I've mentioned everything that I had on my list. And there you go, steady hand and breathe. Doesn't take long, does it, this? Also, club renewals. That'll be a good thing to consider. If you're a member of the club, you know, we're talking about prices here. And the thing about the clubs, if you're not a member of any of our craft clubs, there are 3 to choose from now. So you've got the Stamp Club, you've got the Stencil Club, and you've got the Groovy Club. And you can join all 3 if you feel inclined. And every month you get really beautiful, you get a project, double project, and you get a beautiful brand new design of whichever product you are learning about. But the other thing is that you also get a really good discount. So you get 10% or 15%, depending on how many clubs you're in. And that's got to be worth considering if you shop a lot. There, doesn't that look good? I like. So that's something to consider. I just want to correct this bit here. I'm not happy with that R, which is one of my favorite letters. And if you're looking for a last minute, like proper last minute, 23rd of December, 11th hour gift, we do have gift vouchers and we can send them electronically. There, that's better. Much happier with that. You see, so now I've got my writing in white. Doesn't it ping beautifully? Eh? Looks lovely. And then the only thing left to do is edge the white of the card. I did black and then went back over with the white. So you know, to do that, I used a Sharpie pen. You know, the big old office pens. Hang on, let me grab one, I'll show you. So you're going to take your Sharpie pen and then add your black. And then when that's dry, then run over it with the white one. And you get a really nice kind of a drop shadow effect. It's play, have a play. But you can see, if we compare the two, let's just compare the two. So you've got that one in black, right? And that one with black and then white over the top. Do you see? I know which one I like better. I like the snowy, softer one. And then, of course, it's up to you. Do you put some more snow in the back? See, I love these pens. And I think that the last thing you do is the best thing. Look, if you go over your pencil coloured artwork with little dobs of snow, I think that's pretty lovely. Look, how romantic, eh? There, isn't that nice? There you go. So all that remains for me to say to you is have a very, very happy Christmas, and I wish you a wonderful, healthy, prosperous new year. If you're around on Sunday, on Christmas Day at 10 o'clock, then we'll look at some artwork and hang out and just have a chat. Be nice, you know. If you're not, that's okay. I'll see you on the 9th of January, I hope. And thank you for always giving me a reason to come to the party as well. You know, an empty bus is never it's a cold bus, isn't it? So it's lovely to have your company, because that's all we do. And Paul, I wanted to, can we have a big round of applause for Paul, because he's always there, always helping, and he said he'd be there on Sunday with us as well. So Paul, thank you again. And other than that, I don't think I've forgotten anything. And if I have, it can't be that important. So have a smashing time. Think of us in Lewis at Bill's. And yeah, happy Christmas, friends. Bye-bye now.